Con sonar, new contact bearing 085. Designated Sierra 1.
Good morning, welcome back to Cold Waters. And today,
Con sonar, new contact bearing 085. Designated Sierra 1.
and today we've got a new contact. Today we're in the USS Snook. That's the USS 592. I should know this by now, but we're in the Snook, and we're going to engage between 4 and 6 Russian boats. Four classes, so we've got some attack boats and some cruise missile boats. And this is part 1 of this video. There should be a second part, providing I don't mess this up completely. And what we're going to be doing is comparing the Mark 48 with the Tigerfish. I suppose consider this something of an evaluation. Now, it's not entirely like for like, because we're in a different boat. I mean, we're in the Skipjack class here. Quite a different boat to what the Royal Navy had to offer, but that's okay. I can't compare everything like for like, and I'm not even going to try. So this is not exactly a scientific test of the differences between everything, but some of the different tactics that you can try. And I think this is actually a surface vessel. I've just realised that, and I'm yabbering away and not actually identifying it. Okay, let me identify what this is. It's an Andy-san. No, it's not. It is a trawler. Okay. I don't know if it's a
Con
Russian
sonar,
trawler.
Sierra 1 is classified as merchant.
Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to drop our depth. We're going to head a little bit further south. We're actually between Iceland and Greenland, see if we can show that. Not easily. That's Iceland to the south and Greenland to the north. We're running a
300 feet.
running a scenario where we're supposing that we're going to bounce some of the Russians, some of the Soviets, I should say. Also, it helps if I do the controls correctly. Yeah, numpty. Wow, I was pitching the nose up and filling the ballast tanks with water. Not a good start to a video, I should say, but it's been a long day. Okay, that's better. We're actually descending as we should be. Now, as I record this, I've got quite a bit of background noise taking place around me.
Passing 400 feet.
So I'm curious to see how well the noise voice isolation feature, I should say, of DaVinci Resolve works. See if it can cope with a small child making lots of noise in the household. We'll see. But either way, I just want to compare the Mark 48 with the Tigerfish and some of the different tactics. There was an overall summary.
Passing 500 feet.
500 feet will do. So we get ourselves into position. I don't see any of the bad guys right now. In fact, let's actually... I'm going to use active sonar and just get a bit of a response. Key differences between the two. Tigerfish is slow and quiet, and in this particular flavor has quite a small warhead. The Mark 48 is a lot faster, much more punchy warhead, and a better sensor. But it's also a lot noisier, and I may have mentioned that. So they hear the Mark 48 coming, and they don't always hear the Tigerfish. So you can use a Tigerfish to sneak up on the enemy much more effectively than you can with the Mark 48. Of course, you may not need to use the Mark 48 to be stealthy, because chances are you're going to get them. Right, let's ping.
Con sonar, switching to active search.
Oh, look at that. Right.
Con sonar, switching to passive search.
I'm going to immediately stop pinging. In fact, I think we can get a return on them. Oh, yes, we can. What is this? It's a Victor 3.
Con sonar, Sierra 2 is classified as submerged submarine.
I don't know how far away he is. See if he's going to keep pinging. We might get an idea. 2,500 yards. He's pretty close. I'm about to launch.
Con sonar.
Oh, there he is.
Transient from Sierra.
Shoot 2-4.
So I'm
Aye, sir.
immediately going to counterfire. And
Con sonar. Launch transient from Sierra 2.
I'm actually going to
Come left 2.
fire another one.
0, 4, 6. Helm I.
Con fire control.
And just
we've
for good
lost the
measure,
wire.
another one again.
Con fire control. We've lost the wire.
We're going to bug out of here. I don't think that we're going to
Make turns for 15 knots. Maneuvering I.
necessarily keep the wire here. So I'm firing a spread. I don't really need to fire a spread, but I know that there's between
Con maneuvering. Making turns for 15 knots.
4 and 6 targets out there, so it's possible I'm going to be able to attack multiple targets with this. Yeah, and he looks like he's actually heading.
Con helm. Steady course.
He's heading west. So I've pulled in my towed array. I'm going to get my depth to 700. Let's go ahead and do that.
Make depth 700 feet. Dive I.
I'd like to keep the wire. I can. But
Con sonar. Lost contact. Sierra.
let's go ahead and actually deploy my towed array, because it gives me a bit of an edge into hearing the incoming torpedoes. But really, we're using the Mark 48. These things seem incredibly quick. I've spent a lot of time using the Tigerfish. It's kind of slow. This thing's navigation speed
Torpedo room, tube 5 ready.
is quicker than the Tigerfish attack speed, but it's different propeller. The Tigerfish is battery powered, and these are
Dive at 700 feet. Dive I.
they're a little gas turbine, if memory serves me correctly, and of course my memory is not always that great. Okay. So with the Mark 48, you can fire at a longer range because it has a much greater sensor range, at least in the early Cold War games. It's got a wider, longer sensor range, and so it's got a much better chance of picking up the enemy contact. Right.
Con sonar. Launch transient from Sierra 2.
So we pretty much know that he's firing a bunch. I'm not going to make this torpedo live. It might pick him up.
Con fire control. Weapon acquired.
So it's already acquired him. The Tigerfish likely wouldn't do that. So this is now an immediate threat for him. He's going to have to deal with this. And by doing so, he's probably going to lose his
Con
wire.
sonar. Noisemaker bearing 155. Con sonar. Torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing 182.
I'm about to lose mine because this torpedo did pick me up. So now we're going to do some evasive maneuvers, and that's always fun. It's really not. So the skipjack has just one wire. And I'm pretty certain
Con
that
sonar. Lost contact. Sierra 2. Last bearing 154. Contact is in the baffles.
yeah, I just lost the wire. For good measure, I'm going to go ahead and load my single Moss. And let's switch to my boat. Snook, and let's watch this torpedo coming up behind me. And yeah, my towed array is being retrieved at this point in time. But if I get hit and survive, I'm likely to lose the towed array. That's not a great place to be. 750 yards behind me. Let's try a knuckle right now.
Con knuckle formed.
Yeah, that seemed to work. So we're going to crank it off. Oh, we did crank it off. Port was reverse the turn. Yeah, unfortunately it's going to detect me again, but okay. Let's knuckle it one more time.
Con knuckle
I'm
formed.
going to keep it
Con
turning.
sonar. Regained contact on
Wow.
Sierra.
We just got it.
Maneuvering. Making turns for 30 knots.
Okay, it's turning away. I'm going to bob to the
Passing
surface
700 feet.
as much as we can. See if we can evade it
Con knuckle formed.
this way. I think we left changing my depth too late.
Passing 600 feet.
We'll see if we can avoid it.
Con, torpedo room, tube 4 ready.
Passing
Nope.
Con sonar. We are cavitating.
Passing 400
Okay, drop a noisemaker and reverse
Come
my
left
turn.
129. Helm I.
So the noisemaker, and then
feet.
reversing my
Passing
turn
400 feet.
back towards him. I'm heading it back down to 700 feet. She will make it a little
Make
deeper.
depth 750.
Con sonar. No longer cavitating.
So, towed array is almost being retrieved, and the torpedo is heading the opposite direction behind me. we're heading down to depth. I think it's still going to pick me up, but we might evade it. In the Royal Navy submarines, you can actually dive pretty deep, 2,000 feet, give or take.
Con, sonar, torpedo in the water,
Okay.
torpedo in the water, bearing 183.
So, I don't know where the other boats are, but the fact that another torpedo's picked me up. No, the original one has not detected me, which is wonderful. Just that the other ones have. So, maybe it's just been deflected by Noisemaker. I think it has. Maybe not. Doesn't look like it's picked me up. Oh, okay. It has now.
Con, knuckle formed.
Well, something has. Yeah, it's the original one behind me. In fact, maybe they both detected me now. Okay, well,
Con, knuckle formed.
I was hoping to have a bit of a quiet moment here, but it's unfortunately not going to happen.
Con, knuckle formed.
So, we'll do a little bit of
Passing 700 feet.
umpty shuffle here, try and get away from these
Passing
torpedoes.
600 feet.
Wonderfully calm as I evade these guys. These things are lethal to a
Passing
skipjack.
Con, sonar, we are cavitating.
I mean, one hit and you're dead, pal. Not I mean.
400 feet.
So we'll possibly
Passing
not
300 feet.
rise quite so quickly. But here we are.
Passing 200 feet.
Oh,
Passing 100 feet.
push the nose down to 5. We've actually managed to come up to close to periscope depth really neatly, and we might have just evaded these torpedoes. But where's the other submarines? Beauty. I don't rarely dodge torpedoes, but when I do, I make sure it's 2 of them. It's not cheating if it's 2. Okay, one of them picked me up. It's a shame.
Con, knuckle formed.
See if we can get away from it with some knuckles, K-knuckles.
Make
What it-
depth 4, 5 feet. Dive high.
What it's worth, we'll get up to periscope depth.
Con, knuckle formed.
Now, knuckling when a torpedo is circling around behind you is dangerous because it will detect the knuckle and know that there's something there, which is actually what's happened. So now we've got 2 of them following me again, but hey, cheating if it's 2.
Formed.
Bring them in a little closer, and then we'll try a knuckle on a deep dive or a quick dive. And all the while, very dangerous what I'm doing here because whatever else is out there is hearing and essentially seeing this whole engagement.
Con, knuckle formed.
Right, there's another knuckle, and we're going to dive, and reverse the turnip. Oh, you idiot! I went up again. I mean, really, David. So let's just drop a noisemaker and hope for the best.
Passing 100 feet.
Have I just forgotten what I'm doing? Am I so excited
Passing 200 feet.
to experiment with different weapons?
Passing 300 feet.
Con, sonar, torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water, bearing 138.
Another one? I guess it is.
Passing 500 feet.
Con, sonar, no longer cavitating.
And it may be that what's actually happening, oh, depth,
Passing 700 feet.
is that
Passing 800
I'm
feet.
getting a little deep. I'm getting very deep. This is not good. Okay, let's bring it back up to 700.
Passing 800 feet.
If you take a knot under your test depth, you are usually dead. Now, in a skipjack, you're kind of dead anyway, but it's a weird shape that those torpedoes are forming. So,
Passing 700 feet.
something's acquired me and I don't detect it yet. Which clearly makes me nervous. But I want to keep running away from 0138. I'm kind of heading almost towards it. maybe down south. I don't really want to knuckle a noisemaker, but
Passing 700 feet.
I don't know where it is. Oh, hello. Okay, so abandoned ship, chaps. Oopsie. Right, well, we got a Victor 3 and we didn't detect anything else. So, object lesson number 1 then was that is how you use the Mark 48. You fire the dang things at long range and you hope for the best. Now let's try that again. Let's jump in. The mission editor. This time, the same scenario, 4 to 6. Those are the boats, the Alpha, the Victor 3, Charlie 2, and the Oscar. And we're going to go ahead and start this, but this time we're going to use a Royal Navy. And I'm going to go with a Valiant, which is only the oldest equivalent, so I'll just go ahead and accept that. We're actually in the Valiant, S102. That's great. Let's check what weapons we've got. 12 Mark 24s or Tigerfish, some Mark 8s that are about as useful as a chicken wire submarine. 5 Mosses is no, but I'm going to keep one. Some cruise missiles because we need those, but we'll put ourselves up to 8. Actually, no, I won't. We'll just empty those. I don't need these. And it's too tempting to use a harpoon to sink the surfaced submarine, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's just hit it. Okay, so it's the closest equivalent.
Sonar lost contact.
Rig ship for ultra quiet.
And let's get myself prepared. Okay, so let's see, what do we detect? It's probably in about the same location as well. Okay, so quick intro as I just prepare the boat and get us. So we'll take a look.
Make depth 4, 5 feet, dive by.
Got to periscope depth. The Tigerfish, it's a much quieter weapon, but the warhead is far less effective. Its guidance system is not as long range. I hesitate to say more primitive, but probably is more primitive.
Upscope. Con, dive at 4, 5 feet, dive by.
You cannot dive, you cannot fire the Tigerfish below 760 feet. So what that means is that
Downscope.
if your boat can submerge deeper than that, which the Valiant most absolutely certainly can, we can go down to nearly 2,000 feet. You cannot fire at 2,000 foot. So, got quite a different boat here. It's slightly quicker than the Skipjack, at least in dot mod. It's quite a bit quieter. Quite a bit bigger. Well, it's 500 tons bigger. It's a little bigger. And its weapon system's not as effective. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording. Gonna trundle around and try and find at least one bad guy.
Depth 3 to 8 feet, dive by.
So I'll be back when there's something interesting going on. Just hold that thought for 1 second. Well, I realized that I actually use active sonar in the Skipjack one just to try and detect where the bad guys are, so I'm going to do the same here. Let's keep it fair.
Con sonar, switching to active search.
So, let's ping these Soviet bastards and see where they are.
Con sonar, new contact
Hello.
bearing 186.
Immediate-
Sierra 2.
Immediately, that's a little harsh because...
Con sonar, launch transient from.
Oh my word. Oh no, this isn't very good. This isn't what I signed up for.
Shoot 2. Con sonar, lost contact. Con sonar, launch transient
Oh my
from.
word. Yeah.
Fire control, we've lost the wire.
We're in trouble.
Con sonar, launch transient from. Con sonar, we are cavitating.
I am going to, yeah, that's bad news.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 186. Contact faded.
Passing 400 feet.
Okay, so a quick word of
Con
description
sonar,
as to
no longer cavitating.
what's going on here
500 feet.
is the enemy has clearly got a bunch of
Passing
standoff
600
weapons
feet.
and decided
Fire control, we've lost the wire. Con sonar, torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing 166.
decided he would engage me at standoff range.
900 feet.
So currently we have 4
Passing 1,000 feet.
torpedoes because, I mean, I think
Passing 1,100 feet.
I got 4 the last time. So we have 4 torpedoes,
Passing 1,200 feet.
2 of which appear to be tracking me, or maybe
Passing 1,300 feet.
it's just 1. And so we are going
Passing
deep.
1,400 feet. Passing 1,500 feet.
And tell it
Make
to...
depth 1,969 feet. Dive by.
There's a 5th one. Now my hope here is that this torpedo cannot dive as deep as me, because a lot of the rocket launched or air propelled or however you describe them, fantastic.
Con, maneuvering, making turns for 2.
Come right to 1, 5, 3. Helm aye.
I'm going to do something risky here. I'm going to assume that all of these torpedoes can only dive to the 13-12 test depth that a lot
Con,
of them.
helm, steady course.
All of the Soviet air-launched torpedoes can handle. So even if they can detect me down here now, one of those looks jolly suspicious. It's got a bigger circle. I would put odds that that one can dive to this depth. So we're actually decided we're going to go a little bit more to the east, give this thing a wide berth. It might be
Con,
too late.
sonar, torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing 162.
So I think the one that's detected me, almost the closest one, I don't think it can get down to my depth. I don't know. We'll know soon enough, and if I turn away from it just to help. So if we watch the view here, yeah, there you go. So it couldn't
Con,
get to
sonar, lost contact.
Con, knuckle formed.
it couldn't get to that depth, which is perfect because that's what we want. So I'm kind of immune to 3 of those 4 torpedoes. Now the 4th one, the one with the big circle,
Con, torpedo room.
Con, sonar, regain. Con, sonar, launch transient from Sierra 2.
I strongly suspect that that torpedo can reach me. And the game is saying, hey, if you fancy trying your luck, evade this thing. No thanks. The Alpha's fired a set 65 at me. Not a big threat, cannot get down to my depth. But it's an interesting thing that we can do with the Valiant class. Well, we can pop up to fire at them. Well, we have to, essentially from this depth, you got to pitch the nose right up. Get your depth to 760 feet or less.
Con, sonar, Sierra 5 is classified as submerged submarine.
Fire off a torpedo in the direction of the enemy and then duck right back down, and you've got to get down below 1,300 feet or a little bit more to be safe to avoid the counterfire. Sounds easy. Well, kind of, yes, maybe. But you also cannot fire a torpedo above 20 knots without risking destroying your
Con, torpedo room. Tube 1 ready.
torpedo tube. So, and even though I have 6 and I've got 5 spare, I don't want to be destroying your torpedo tubes. So that's not a tactic you can do in the skipjack, or even something like the Permit, which is a little slower but can dive to 1,300 feet.
Con, sonar, launch transient from Sierra. Con, sonar, torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing 265.
Yeah, so that one almost to my direct west has detected me, but it can't get down as deep as me, so I'm not going to stress it. There you go. Goodbye. I have this wonderful immunity right now. Now that won't last forever, because one of the reasons why I chose the Victor 3, let me show you why I chose the Victor 3. It's got use at 80s. They can dive deep. In fact, I think the Test 71s have the same 1,300 12 foot, but the USET 80s, yeah, they can reach me. Oh yes. Yeah, so we don't want to tangle with
torpedo
those.
room. Tube 2 ready.
In fact, I think the Alphas have got the standoff capability. Think about it. Yeah, they do. These things are Vuga. Actually, that's the thing I tested at the 780 feet. But Vodapad, okay, they all have a standoff capability. Yeah, and the Vodapad, I can dive deeper than as well with this boat. So that's the good news. The bad news is that something like the Alpha, I cannot effectively engage this thing. because, or easily engage it, because it's quicker than my torpedoes. So we're going to try something here. We're going to pop up to the
Con
surface.
sonar, launch transient from Sierra 5.
We are probably going to get targeted
Passing 1900 feet.
by a torpedo to my west, because there are a few of them
Con.
Passing 1800 feet.
going to
Helm
come
right
up,
178. Helm I.
coming up like a fart in a bath. That's the
Con.
plan.
Passing 1600 feet.
And then when we get up to firing depth, we're going to fire a
Passing
torpedo
1500 feet.
and duck right back down.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 5.
Yeah, this
Con
is
sonar, launch transient from Sierra 5.
very risky.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 5.
Because there's a few
Passing
torpedoes in the
1100
water
feet.
now.
Passing 1000.
Get my speed down to
Make
20
turns
knots.
for 20 knots. Maneuvering aye.
Let's begin to flatten out. So we're going
Passing 800 feet.
to basically pointing the nose down. Right, so we can now fire.
Con maneuvering. Making turns for
What I'm going to do
20 knots.
is fire out. 1,
221. Aye, sir.
2,
22. Aye, sir.
3. And then pushing the nose right down and get right back down to depth. So let's go ahead and
Passing 800 feet.
let's bait this torpedo. You know what? I kind of feel like I don't have to bait
Passing
it.
900 feet.
We'll try something. Let's go to 13, 12
Depth
foot.
1312 feet. Dive by.
This could go very wrong for me.
Make turns for 28 knots. Maneuvering aye.
Losing wires now. They've actually been quite
Con fire control. We've lost the wire.
Right,
Con
yes.
fire control. We've lost the wire.
resilient to wires, because usually these things lose their wires very quickly. But yeah. Okay. So the plan now, those two alphas have decided that they've got something else to do anywhere else, so that they're making like a tree and getting out of here. I have just 3 Tigerfish left. I've got some Mark 8s that are only useful for surface submarines if you're at point blank range. I'm heading right towards a torpedo here
Dive at 1312 feet. Dive by.
that when it detects me will dive to my depth, but it hasn't detected me yet, so struck a log.
Con maneuvering, making turns for 28 knots.
Come right to 155. Helm aye.
And these 2 alphas are going somewhere else, and I can't catch them.
Con helm. Steady course.
Something else has fired at me. I imagine that that's the
Con, torpedo.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 4 bearing 187.
I don't know what Sierra 4 is, but I'm willing to bet that it is an Oscar, and I think it is. Yep, I think it's an Oscar. So that would be a nice kill if I can make it, but I don't.
Con sonar Sierra 4 is classified as submerged submarine.
I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. And was that a torpedo, though? That's interesting. I've got a chance right now. That was one of my Tigerfish, wasn't it?
Passing 1300 feet.
Chance right now of maybe doing something productive here with a Tigerfish, but
Come right to.
Passing 1200 feet.
I don't really think it's going to work my way.
Passing 1100 feet.
The others are turning towards me, and you can sometimes catch these guys essentially in the face. It's more your Tigerfish doesn't hit them; they
Con,
hit
torpedo
your
room, tube 1 ready.
Tigerfish. But that would require a stroke of luck, because I don't really see that happening.
Make depth 700 feet. Dive by.
It could do. What's this alpha doing? He's at 750 feet, give or take, so I could have a go at him. But I really don't think I'm gonna.
Make turns for 20
I don't think it's gonna work the way that I'd like it to.
Passing 800 feet.
Still, always one for a challenge.
Making turns for 20
He's
knots.
deeper than I am, but
Passing 700 feet.
I'm gonna try. So I think we can
Con,
make
so
my speed back down.
Make turns for 0. Make turns for
Oh,
1,
that's a lot of
0
weapons.
knots. Maneuvering aye.
What I'm doing now is I'm getting my speed down to 10 knots.
Con, torpedo room, tube 2.
con sonar regained contact on Sierra 4, bearing 19. Con sonar launch transient from. Con sonar new
Okay.
contact bearing 160. Designated Sierra 7.
Looks like this Alpha's about to eat one to the face anyway.
Con sonar new contact bearing 150. Designated Sierra 8.
So I've just been launched at my Sierra 6, I think, or 7 or something, and there's a whole bunch of targets. It's an Alpha. A lot of targets out here. Oh, no, it's not. What is that? It's probably a whale.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
I don't like...
Con sonar torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing 196.
Okay, that's bad. So I'm going to get my depth down.
Passing 700 feet.
I think I really need...
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 6.
Passing 800 feet.
I need a bit
Con
more depth
sonar
right now.
lost.
Passing 900 feet.
So, we're being chased by a torpedo.
Passing 1,000 feet.
If I can get down to depth quickly enough, I can
Passing
neutralize it.
1,100 feet.
But you see it behind me there. It's anticipating what I'm doing, so
Passing 1,200 feet.
I'm about to go into my safe zone, maybe.
Passing 1,300 feet.
I'm going to turn back towards it, as I feel
Passing
lucky.
1,400 feet. Passing 1,500 feet.
That was a USET 80, so that was a foolish thing to
Knuckle
do.
formed.
Because now I'm in the doggy doo-doos up to my
Passing
connect.
1,700 feet.
So, trial number 2.
1,800
Hitch the
feet.
thing right up, crank it up. So,
Passing 1,900
drop one of them there noisemakers and turn the opposite
Knuckle
way and
formed.
hope for the best. Oh, okay. That must have been a test 71 then if it got down to
Passing 1,900 feet.
that depth. Oh, I knew that would happen.
Passing 1,800 feet.
Yeah, and
Passing 1,700 feet.
I don't actually know if we got anything right now because
Passing 1,600 feet. Passing 1,500 feet.
it's been a bit
Con,
ineffective.
torpedo room, tube 5.
Passing 1,400 feet.
So let's look at this Alpha.
Con, helm, steady course.
See it.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 2. Last bearing 105. Contact is in the baffles.
Passing 1,300 feet.
Well, I think what I've demonstrated is the Tigerfish has to be used very carefully. And going in gung-ho just doesn't work. And there is an analogy I want to make. And this is nothing against Americans or against the Brits, but culturally we're rather different. If you've seen the original
Helm
Mummy
left
film,
270. Helm aye.
there's a scene in that
Con, helm, steady course.
there's a scene in that movie when they're on a boat.
Con sonar launch transient from.
They're crossing the Nile, and like something happens. The mummy's forces attack, or I don't know what goes on. The boat catches fire, and they try to capture some device. And anyway, it's all the bad guys. And so the Brits like, yeah, cool story, chaps. I'm for the off. Runs over the side, but as he's doing so, he stops to observe that the other group of
Con
American
sonar regained contact on Sierra 3. Bearing 186. Con
bounty
sonar
hunters.
lost contact. Sierra 3. Last bearing 185. Contact faded.
Or treasure hunters, I should say, not bounty hunters. They're having a shootout with the bad guys, and they're using cover and they're firing and all that kind of jazz. And so, the observation to make here is that the Mark 48 is a great weapon if you want to go all gung ho, because you can do that in one of these weapons.
Con sonar.
Passing 1,900 feet.
The Tigerfish, less so.
Passing 1,800 feet.
I don't think I can do a head-on charge with this guy,
Passing 1,700 feet.
but I'm going to give it a go. This is the Alpha to my
Passing
south,
1,600 feet.
bringing my depth up to
Con
attack
sonar
depth.
launch transient from Sierra 2.
They're all firing at me now
Passing
because
1,400 feet.
about me. And this weapon does not
Passing
work
1,300 feet.
when used in a gung-ho manner.
Knuckle formed.
Well, this Alpha is doing 36 knots,
Passing
so
1,100 feet.
immediately my Tigerfish is at a disadvantage.
Passing 1,000 feet.
It can't catch.
Make turns for 1, 0.
Passing 800 feet.
That's pretty strict, pretty severe what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of on his tail, but I don't
Con
think.
sonar regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 0, 6, 7.
Well,
Con, fire
we'll
control,
try,
weapon
and
acquired.
we've already acquired it, and that's great.
Con sonar launch transient from.
But I
Con
don't.
sonar noisemaker bearing 2, 8, 2.
I'm gonna have to guide this thing in manually, which I'm doing the number keypad right now.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 2.
Passing 800 feet.
Seeing if I can attack him this way, but this is kind of. I don't think I can catch him. He's doing 36 knots.
Con sonar torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water.
and that's me.
Bearing 0, 3, 7. Con sonar torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing 1, 6, 3.
Make turns for 2, 8 knots.
I need to go.
Maneuvering eye.
Yeah, I'm in big trouble here.
Fire control, we've lost the wire.
Come on, you can get him. You can get him. Come on.
Passing 1,000 feet.
Come on.
Passing
Just-
1,100 feet.
Just can't catch him. And,
Sonar noisemaker.
Passing 1,200 feet.
oh, maybe the other two can, but those aren't even my torpedoes.
Con sonar
Passing 1,300 feet.
Right, it's gone all quiet, but
Passing 1,400 feet.
Con
Right.
sonar torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the
great.
water.
Now my
Bearing
Tigerfish has
3,
decided it wants a
5,
bite of
2.
me.
Passing 1,600 feet.
Con sonar lost contact.
Passing 1,700 feet. Passing 1,800 feet.
Right, well, let's do the unthinkable and turn back into the fight.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 2. Last bearing 0, 6, 9. Contact is in the back.
Passing 1,800 feet.
Got rid of the Tigerfish the depth way, but that's not
Passing 1,700 feet.
great, really.
Con maneuver.
Passing 1,600 feet.
Let's see.
Con sonar regained contact.
Passing 1,500 feet.
I really want to disengage.
Come right to 271 helm eye.
Passing 1,500 feet.
I have one
Con
Tigerfish.
sonar regained contact on Sierra 3.
Passing 1,600 feet. Make depth 1,969 feet. Dive by.
Right, well, I think that just about draws a conclusion.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 3. Last bearing 1, 8, 1. Contact faded. Con sonar noisemaker bearing 3, 5, 8.
We can get a word in, of course, but that just about draws a conclusion to this part of the
Con
video.
sonar regained contact on Sierra 3. Bearing 1, 8, 0.
In that you've got to use the Tigerfish to its strengths and not its weaknesses. And if there's a part two video of this, what we're going to be doing is showing that actually, if you want to sneak on the enemy, the Tigerfish is a really effective weapon if you use it correctly. But using it like this, it's not quite bringing a knife to a gunfight.
Con, dive at 1,969 feet. Dive by.
But I guess it's bringing a .22 to a shotgun party. I don't know quite how to describe it in firearm terms, but it's not a good
Con
weapon.
sonar regained contact on Sierra 5. Bearing 1, 3, 6.
It's not a good weapon when used in that context, but that draws this part of the video to a close, or this part one of maybe a 2 or 3 part series. So hope that you got something from this, hope that you enjoyed it, and you got to see me dancing around, and that was always good fun. We are not exactly slinking away, we're moving away at best speed and best depth. Well, like I say, hope you got something from this, and all being well, I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.